Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. My name is Chris Legaspi, and today we are going to continue the Every Frame of Painting series. This episode, we're going to do some studies from Atomic Blonde, 2017 American action movie. And thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. This series, we're just going to examine some of the beautiful photography and do some color studies and, also analyze and appreciate the beautiful composition. Comment below if you have seen or heard of this movie. I just discovered it recently, and I got to be honest, it just blew me away. I mean, the story is, a little bit up and down, but as far as photography goes and composition and color, it is one of my favorite new movies to study. It's just glorious, glorious cinematography. So hopefully we can learn a couple things from the artist who created this beautiful work. And if you are brand new and you're just watching for the first time, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to my free Insiders Club. So Insiders Club is my email list, so you can get access to live classes like this and other free content as well as discount on courses, live classes, and other programs. I am planning to teach a couple live classes soon. I know I'm a little behind, but email readers also get discounts to live classes. All you have to do is go to www.drawwithchris.com, and there you can enter your email and you'll be good to go. And before we begin, comment below. Let me know, where are you located? Where are you watching from? And what time is it for you? I am currently in Thailand and it's 9 in the morning, Saturday morning for me. So thank you for being here wherever you are. All right, so Atomic Blonde, let's take a moment to talk about the film. It's just something that I recently discovered. Before this episode, I was debating whether to do John Wick 2, because I wanted to do like a big budget American action movie, something kind of fun. And John Wick 2, I saw that recently, and it also has gorgeous photography. And then I found out about this movie, and it just, in my opinion, it blows away John Wick 2 in terms of cinematography. So I found this would be a better film to study. So this was directed by David Leitch, who I've never heard of, and the cinematographer is Jonathan Sella. And some of his other credits include Deadpool 2 and the original John Wick, which has beautiful photography, but I would argue John Wick 2 has much like cooler, more colorful and stylized look. John Wick 2 is a bit more naturalistic. And Atomic Blonde has not only gorgeous colors, which is what we're mostly going to look at today, but just outstanding framing, outstanding values, and outstanding camera movement, which is just really, really cool to see in person. So let's take a look at some frames and appreciate this movie. Here's a couple of frames, some of the hits that I gathered. You can see it has this really interesting color palettes. It goes from, this stylized monochrome look that we saw earlier to a couple like naturalistic outdoor looks and some just gorgeous indoor photography and lighting. One of my favorite scenes is the scene of this jeweler character, the jeweler's room, which we just saw. Just gorgeous, gorgeous. It's like an ordinary, mundane room. You wouldn't think of it as something that's too interesting, but the DP and the director just made it absolutely stunning. Oh, the production designers too. It has that typical stylized colored lighting that's in a lot of action movies. And a lot of the frames, a lot of the scenes are in this like ice cold, almost black and white, stylized kind of lighting, which is just so gorgeous. And I just want to quickly touch on the intro scene is of the main character, which is Charlize Theron's character, walking into a museum of some kind or a big government building, and it just absolutely incredible framing and lighting as the camera follows her through this building. And it's the opening scene, so it kind of like the director and the cinematographer is letting you know right away, like, oh, they mean business, that they spent a lot of time and money on these shots. So this is going to be you can tell right away that this movie is going to be a feast for your eyes. It's going to be beautiful to look at, which is what something that I look for when I look at movies to study and look at photography and cinematography to study. So let's begin. And here's the jeweler scene again. Just quickly look at this gorgeous set. Just look at all of these details were crafted by the artists involved, and the lighting and the color, just absolutely stunning scene. And it's to me, this is something that I admire, because it's something I try to do in my own work, is try to make ordinary life, daily ordinary scenes, try to make them artistic. And this is just a great example of that. Let's start with an easy one. So I'm going to start with one of the really, I don't want to say monochrome, but almost these kind of black and white almost scenes. Not monochrome, very, very neutral color. And going to start with the drawing. And if you're just watching this series for the first time, so this is episode 5. The previous videos have more instructional content. So for this video, I'm just going to try to do demos, not talk so much so I can go quickly, because these 10 they can take a while. So if you're just joining the series, you can check out the previous episodes to review and get more tips and techniques on how I do this. Especially the first episode has more a tutorial on how to do color studies in Photoshop. Hopefully I can do this in a traditional one soon. So one thing I like about this movie is, besides the photography, is it's an action movie. It's a lot of fight scenes. They do a combination of most of the fight scenes are in that really beautiful wide, the classic style, where it's a wide shot, one long take, so you can see all the action, and the actors, all the actors involved really have to yeah, it just takes incredible amount of work and coordination to do it that way, the old school way. So I got to give Charlize Theron a lot of credit. I can't tell if it's a stunt double, but if it is her, got to give her credit for doing these really long, wide takes. So those are always beautiful to watch. And the DP, the cinematographer, has a lot of action movies to his belt, Deadpool 2 and John Wick, just to name a few, like we mentioned earlier. And interesting, the in this scene, the well, part of the movie is she's working with the American CIA. She's supposed to be a British spy, or I guess. It's not very convincing as a British spy, but I guess she's a British spy and she's working with the American CIA, and the one of the CIA people is played by the actor John Goodman, and this is like in the last year or so I've been watching movies to do studies from and talk about, and it's like the second or third movie I've seen him play the exact same character. He plays like some government official doing top secret stuff. So it's an interesting, interesting way that these movies kind of have these repeating characters. All right, so obviously I'm going to. There's essentially two layers: the character and the background. Luckily, the background is dark. So I'm just going to put something down as a mask for the character, and then obviously the background is quite dark. Now on the surface, this looks easy because there's not a lot of color. So as a color study, it looks okay. It looks easy, which it is easier than it would be a super colorful one. But there's also the challenge of subtlety, which is not easy at all. For example, this background, right? It's looks at first glance, it looks like just black and white, but there is color there, right? It's a blue. There's a dark, dark blue. Now, as we know, blue essentially has three shades: true blue, which is down the middle, blue. There's reddish blue and a greenish blue. So this is a greenish blue. It's like close to true blue. So I really can't see it actually. So I got to turn up. Okay, so we're close to true blue here. Now I got to go to sort of a green blue. Okay, we're getting close. And then I think that's as close as I can get. Turn down the saturation. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it there. Now I need her to compare. Let's see. It's actually lit by the same blue. It's really what it is. It's essentially there's a cool light in the room. The photographer, ooh, that's pretty close. Let's see. Okay, that's pretty close. So it's like a true blue, right? At full saturation, it looks like that. Desaturated, it looks like that. I'm just going to give it a little bit of green. And then on top of that, there's post-production that's happening, in the as well. So this is a bit challenging, actually. I'm a little kind of not sure how to match this blue. I'm having a hard time. It definitely needs to go darker. Let's see if I go darker. Okay, that's pretty close. There's not much gradation. There's the reflection of her in the map, but gradation wise, it's really just kind of dark and flat almost. The only real gradation is in the middle. So let's just quickly do that. I just want this note there because, okay, this one has a bit of color to it. Oh, okay. Okay, okay. Let me turn it down and see what happens. Okay, that's pretty close. That's pretty close. Let me just move forward here. Going to try to match. Let's see. So she's being lit from above. Let me try to match her skin now. Ooh, this is tricky. Super subtle, right? The skin, obviously she's pink, like pink, light-skinned European skin color, and but she's being lit by the cold, ice cold light in the room, and just the cold, really cold. By cold, I mean cool color, cool colored, cool colored. Most likely post production that's happening. So I'm just gonna throw down something fleshy, something orange. Typically, when I try to start a flesh tone, a skin color, I use orange and start to play with it. Okay, so it's a pink orange. We're getting there. I think value wise, turned out. Wow, need to go a little more pink. It's just super cold, super cold. So her orangey pinkish skin is being turned. Wow, really cold. Uh, okay, that looks okay. Man, this is it's not as easy as I thought. I need a shape for her hair. I'm just gonna pick and she's like super white blonde, platinum blonde in the movie. She's wearing this, I guess why that's part of her superhero character, Atomic Blonde. I wonder if I put that below. Oh, doesn't look too bad. If I put it below the, in fact, I may do that with the skin. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, that looks better. Okay. So I put it underneath my little shadow layer, this layer right here. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Oh, I see, I see, I see. Okay, so I gotta, all right, where am I at here? Boy, skin is, oh, the skin is tough. Let me see what I can do with airbrush. I think I'm just gonna try to capture the notes as best as I can do because yeah, otherwise this will take a while. I don't want that. So I'm just gonna put on some really bright notes, just a big overall brightness coming down from the cool coming down. Okay, that's better. Much better, much better. Let's take out some of the underplanes. So that's the general note, the colored note that's happening, which is really all that I can do is make sure I have those. This one, yeah. Oh, yes. Okay. Okay, that looks pretty good. I just color picked the blue from the background. It's not quite the same blue, and it's a bit, too dark and gray. Oh, I'm not sure. But this is the reason why I chose this one because I want to use this color scheme myself. So a lot of times, this exercise is so great for learning how to work with various color palettes. So this is a muted color palette. Oh, that's nice right there. That looks pretty close. So once the hair, it's the hair that looks off now. Once the hair is there, let's mess with the hair. So the hair is just it's too blonde. It needs to be, oh, wow, the hair. There's hardly any yellow at all, actually. It's super muted. So this is tough, actually. This does take some like skill and experience to see these subtle changes in color, man. Okay, so that looks pretty good, actually. I'm just really blowing out her hair. I think as a first pass, this is pretty good. I am okay with this hair like this because the all the subtleties and nuances is going to take a while. But I think, just as seeing it and getting the notes, really, I think that's the main objective here. Trying to get the notes, the nice color notes, and let's bring back this white in the jacket, in the shirt, excuse me, the shirt. And then on her face, I'm going to try to make sure I have some value. There you go. Something still need to go a little bit darker. I can get that read. Can't see her eyebrows, the ears, and actually the most color is in her hand, and probably her lips too. Got the most red under her nose. Most colors really at her fingertips, and the shadow part of her hand. That's the wrong color. Needs to go a little bit warmer. Just put a pink down. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, that's pretty close. I'm going to move on from here. But yeah, lots of subtle color, but really clear and distinct values here. Let me try one more here. Okay, another beautiful shot here. This one's got the colored lighting, really exciting red, plus got the dramatic subject matter, a gun pointing to a beautiful woman's head. Obviously, you're gonna not try not to spend time on the drawing and just kind of get me some shapes that I can work with for the color. So I believe this actress here, I forgot her name, the one in this frame, she played a mummy character in the Tom Cruise Mummy movie. I don't know if any of you saw it, heard it. It's kind of, I think it was the Tom Cruise Mummy one. There was a mummy movie with Tom Cruise in it. She was the main villain, I think. So I'm just trying to match the shapes really. Obviously, try to get some realism and detail as best as I can, but this is mostly color studies, so I'm not going to do too much for the drawing. I always say that, but uh, never turns out that way. Okay, drawing looks good. So I'm just going to pick a red. Let's pull this up and just try to approximate the reds here. I know there's lots of reds to pick from, so I'm just going to pick one that comes close. That's pretty close. I'm going to leave it there. Now I need the shape of the characters, or the head and the hand with the gun. So hopefully this one will go a little faster than the other one. Something like this is a bit more challenging if you're new to color and you're not used to looking at saturation. It can be very intimidating, and you may not be able to capture the nuances, especially a color like this, intense red. Intense red is a little bit hard to stare at, so if you have to do like a color study or even your own work, you're doing a painting or something, when you're staring at red for a while, it affects you psychologically. It's such a powerful color. And I'm making a shape here with so I can do my clipping masks. But you obviously, if you're using a program that doesn't have lasso tool like Procreate, well, Procreate has some kind of lasso tools, but you can of course do this with a brush, a hard edge brush. It's the exact same effect. All right, so we got reds and also a blue kicker light, a secondary light, colored light. So I'm just going to drop a red that's close. Most of it is red. I'm just going to approximate. There you go. It's close. Let me address the background first. Address the background first. Okay. So what do we got looking at the background gradation wise? Obviously, it's darker here on the right. That's her shadow, making it dark. Lighter here, artificial light here, like a big bright thing. That's easy to do. So, and it's also like a pinky, right? You see how this is kind of like a hot, hot red? It's middle red. It's like red, red, cadmium red, darker red here. So red plus a little bit of black or whatever. And it gets a little more pink here, and then it gets kind of purple here. So let's start with what's dark. See what that does. Okay, this color is nice for actually the middle section. And I'm going to bring out my gradation tool. And again, if you're using Procreate or another software, you absolutely can do this with a brush. Just great gradients. Really, I'm looking at the gradients and movements. Let me move this guy over here. I'm going to need to change the shape quite a bit, so I'm going to keep that on the screen. A brighter one. Let's see, brighter and pink. I think, yeah, let's try this. On this side. Actually, that would be nice for that middle bit of pink. purple, pink. Let's try that first. While I have this color. Okay, let me address this zone. So I'm trying to look at this zone here. And so it obviously needs to go darker and not so pink. So bring it back to warm red. Okay, that's pretty close actually. Let's see, yeah, that's pretty close. Okay, that's it. That is pretty close. And then obviously lots of ways to do this little strip. Ooh, and we need to change that. Pew. Oh, nice. Okay. Close enough. It's on a layer. Okay, trying to get that little bit of purple in the background. Obviously too dark. Oh, looking good. It just turned, I I got lucky with the color. Guessing with the color, it was just a little too dark, too bright. And then there's some texture there. Let's play with the texture a little bit. Let's try this one little splattery. I feel pretty good about that purple. The background still needs to go darker. It's probably going to be the same as her hair. So I can use the same color in her hair. It is the same color. Okay, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Let's go on to the figures now. All right, what do we got? So many ways we can go. I'm going to block in the darks first. Oops, what am I doing here? Okay, block in the dark, so that would be her hair, the gun. Hair and gun. So her hair, let's say even the little shapes under her eye. Obviously, there's more to it than that, but This movie makes me want to photograph people with colored lights. I want to try to recreate some of the photography. I don't know if I can, but definitely it's good to have, this as inspiration and reference. Okay, so blocked in her hair feels pretty good. Even the gun looks pretty good. I will leave it like that. You know what? I'm gonna take out that little piece, this piece. Let me do the skin. So the character skin, I'm gonna use a brush for this one. So I'll just pick a dark red, and then we'll kind of, oh, that looks pretty nice. I just color picked this dark from the background. Looks pretty nice, actually. Obviously, gonna set up the beautiful light on the bottom, the beautiful secondary blue light. Now, the skin is actually too pink. I gotta change that. Just the skin. Yep, the skin is too pink. It needs to be warmer. There you go. That's too orange. Oh, it's getting there. That looks about right, actually. Let's see. Darker. Yeah, that looks about right. Okay, I like that. I'm gonna catch this on her arm has some of that light that looks great. Actually, I can also put it on the gun. Some bounce light happening in the gun there. And this one is too dark. Okay, that looks pretty good. Actually, that light is also hitting the girl, our character here on the left. Oh, that looks nice. That looks pretty nice. It's a bit hotter. Needs to be a little bit, when I say hot, I mean towards orange, just a little bit, looking at her chest. Oh yeah, much better. That orange on her chest. It's red. It's a red orange on her chest, but then it turns into obviously cooler as it goes to the left. All right, and then let's see if I can just bring out some bit more detail in the eye. Don't leave it so. And then some of that goes into the lips. I'm trying to set up the beautiful blue bounce light or secondary light. It's not a bounce light, it's a secondary light. So this is helpful. So these necklaces are kind of like what we saw Sargent do. And when we study Sargent, he connects two dark shapes, so that's a good thing to have there. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. Now the blue, this is the last part. So all of that was just set up to get that nice blue. I'm just going to color pick the purple that I established. Now it's actually quite blue. Um, so color pick the purple that I threw out. I'm going to start with her arm. Okay, so that's two purple. I'm just going to put some down, obviously in her chin. I'm going to put something down so I could do this. This is what I was waiting for. It's definitely blue. Oh, I got lucky there. Oh, that's two blue. Yeah, that's it. That is it. It's a little purple, but over here it works. I'm just gonna sprinkle it on a little bit on her cheek as well. It's just spilling all over her. On the character, this character. Yeah, that looks nice. So this would be a fun color scheme to steal, borrow, or homage. Something you can definitely use in your own work. That looks pretty good. I mean, yeah, pretty happy with that. I can add a little bit to it. Let's see, red, darker, and more saturated, just to give it a little bit of variety. There it is. That's nice right there. Yeah, I think I'm good with that. So that was a fun one. Okay, let's do one more. The jeweler character here. I wanted to do his the room that he's in, but it's super complex to draw. I'm scared it'll take me an hour just to draw the elements in the room. And I'm not the biggest fan of perspective drawing, to be honest. Comment below if you're kind of intimidated by perspective drawing. It's not my favorite thing in the world. This gorgeous lighting, and it has that green-orange palette in the inner circle program. I recently did a, uh, a training on color palette, which is one of my favorite, green orange, excuse me, because it's a near complement. If you use green and blue, orange and blue is obviously an obvious complementary palette that's very powerful, but it can be really strong, you know. It's very, very strong when you use them together because they contrast. They're totally opposites, right? So the contrast gets really powerful. So you got to be careful. But green and orange and green are near complements. So green is a bit softer and less complementary, obviously. It's a near complement. So it's a bit milder to look at. All right. All right. What's the dominant color? It is, comment below. What's the dominant color? If you said green, you would be correct. So I'm just going to pick a green. I'm just going to throw down a green. Oh, that is not the right green. So I'm looking at the average right now. There's obviously subtle greens and grays and yellows happening here. So I'm just going to, well, first it's too bright. I'm looking at this green right here. I'm going to try to match that and then use gradients on the left and the right to pull me back in. So that is a pretty dark, kind of warmy greens right here. It's pretty dark, pretty desaturated. It's a bit yellow. All right, it's a bit more yellow. Okay, I'm just going to leave it like that for now. And use a gradient tool to get just kind of, I just want to block in the background before I block in the character. So I'm just going to pick a random dark green. That's kind of where I was at. Okay, so that's not dark enough. That's weird. It's anti-aliasing now. Why is it doing that? Okay, obviously the screen is not dark enough. We need to go boom. There you go. Now it's a little too, there's a bit more color back here. Let's see. Oh, nice. That's looking better. It needs to be a little bit warmer. Oh, yeah. I really made it warm. So now we're pretty close. We're in the ballpark. I'm happy with that. I'm going to block in the character now, but I need to see him. Need to see my drawing real quick. Okay, here we go. Blocking in, blocking in. Again, if you're using other software program, you could do this with a brush. You don't have to use a lasso tool. So I'm going to block him in with just kind of this green, but a bit warmer, mid-tone and neutral. Just need something there. That's kind of a, okay, there we go. So now I'm in business. All right. His face and his jacket. So his face needs to be a unique thing. So what I'm going to do is just basically cut out his face. So it's its own shape. And I'm including that little bit of collar that's in shadow. We can't really see, but it's still skin. I'm basically trying to create a mask for skin. So that way I can do this and then have the jacket. Oh, there you go. That's pretty close. I'm going to look at kind of the mid-tone of his cheeks. Uh, yeah, that's pretty close. Okay, jacket needs to be darker. Oh, it's pretty close. Obviously, there's a pattern and some gradations. Let's do that now. Let's do the inner jacket first, that dark shirt. It's actually like a brown. It's like a dark brown. So I'm gonna just pick the color in the background just to see the one that I've already decided. See how that works. Okay, that's kind of nice. It needs to be, I think the value is right. It needs to be more brown. So it needs to be not so much green, but a dark brown. I believe it's dark brown. Let's see. See where I'm at. Okay. What I'm doing is I'm turning it up the color so I know where I'll be at. Turn down the value, turn down the saturation. Okay, that looks pretty close. I like that. It's pretty close. Back to the jacket. So the jacket has gradations and texture, obviously, which I'm not going to get. So let's start with the gradation. I'm going to color pick just this little area of green here. Let's see what that does. Oh, that looks nice. Looking at the shaded side of his jacket, that looks pretty nice. Over here, what can we use for that? Let's try this one. See what that looks like. Yeah, that looks okay. I'm looking at this jacket now and I got to try to match not so much the color, but just the gradation. Okay, this I think it does seem to be a little bit warmer. This looks okay. There's a bit of shadow underneath, not underneath, bottom up. So I'm going to use a brush for that because he's being lit from above and to the right. So as his jacket, his body, the fabric turns under, of course, it's going to catch some shadow. Let's see what that looks like. I'm just trying to get the overall effect of it. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Darker. Keep the saturation warmer. No, cooler, warmer. Yes. Okay, so that's pretty close. I like that. Now I want the dark shadow, little short shadow details, shadow shapes in the jacket. Just see if I can. Does help to sculpt it a little bit, but it's a little too dark there. Let's see if we can lighten that up. And a little too green. Desaturated, cooler, warmer, and now the edge is all wonky. His jacket can go a little bit darker, so let's do that over here. Yeah, that's nice. It's looking nice. Also a little bit darker here on this side, just a touch. Maybe draw the lapel a little bit. Oops. Right now, it's a little too cool right here. It needs to be warmer. A touch darker and a touch warmer. Let's see what that does. And a bit more saturated. So I'm just going to see what this looks like. Okay, that doesn't look good. just the brush is all wrong too. Let's not use that brush. Okay, so darker. Yeah, a little bit warmer. Okay, that looks pretty good. Just kind of neutralize some of that cool white or cool green, light green that was there. Okay, that's pretty close. I think that's as close as I can take it in the time that I have. Let me get to the face. All right, let's do the face. We need the shadow shape, obviously, the dark, which will be his hair. So I'm going to pick a brown. Just going to drop in a brown, any old brown for now. Obviously, it's too light. We can go a lot darker. And notice how the eyes, I don't really draw eyes, I just draw a shape, which is how, even though, it's obvious here that I'm doing that A, because it's a color study, and B, to save time. But that's exactly how you want to draw portraits too, is to, when you're doing more, if you're just going to do a drawing of a head, you want to start with the shape of when you draw the eyes, you want to draw the shapes that make up the eye, not so much the details in the eye, because that will not be good. It's not ideal. So I'm just looking at right here, dark shadow body. It's pretty saturated right there. So it needs to go darker. Needs to go a little bit warmer. Yeah, looks good. That looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. I like that. Now I'm going to add some variation to it. Let's see, how do we do this? So at the top, it's got some of this green. some of this dark green, because really what's happening, he's so much green in the room, and he has like light brown hair. So it's very desaturated and dark and a little bit brighter. Okay, that looks pretty good. I can live with that. It gets really dark right here. It's really, really dark. It's almost, it's really the same black that's in the background. So I'm just going to do that. Just color pick the background. And my background does need to go darker as well. I think he has blue eyes, so the blue eyes are in the shadow body. Yeah, his core shadow's got that greeny dark to it, which is why the cheeks have that nice glow. Same with this shadow body. Couple ways to go now. Obviously, his skin is is way is not wrong. Is it's not right. Is totally strange looking now in this world. So we got to bring it back into this world. How do we do that? Okay, that's the skin there. It's the shadow shape there. Um, let's do the gradations in the skin first. It's always easier. So it gets darker and cooler at the bottom. So let's just pick a dark, cool color that we already have. See what that does. Oh, that looks pretty nice. I like that. At the top, obviously, the highlight. Ah, looks pretty nice right there. Starting to make sense now. I like this. I'm going to extend this color that I just made, extend it down, and then drop the opacity. Creates a nice glow. Oh yeah. So now the skin is in business, huh? The skin is in business. We are way closer than where we were. So I'm pretty happy with that. Right before it looks flat and out of place, but now that's just simple gradations. You saw that. Definitely review that because this is a good example of how to handle skin color. Really, skin color is just a bunch of notes of brown, really. If you're stuck with skin color. In fact, I have a video on my channel about how to use brown skin color. Obviously, the shape is all messed up too. But we do the best we can. Get some of that shadow in his beard or his stubble there. Try to get a bit more of the saturated notes in his face. The face is pretty much done, actually, really. Um, I mean, the drawing is terrible, obviously, but the notes are there. All the notes are there. So that looks nice. Let me see if I can get some of the notes in his jacket. I think, oh God, I got to do the clock in the background too. Oh my God. It's a big part of the scene. See if this brush is too textury. Let's see what this does. Might be too textury. Okay, that kind of works. Because there's really nice subtle notes and highlights in the jacket there. I don't want to leave it too plain. Okay, yeah, that's all I wanted to do really, is just put some of those notes there. Do the best I can to create the illusion of texture, suggesting texture. It's a great way also to work. All right, let's do the clock and then we can call it a day. Oh boy, of course I'm not going to draw the clock. There's no way. I'm just going to kind of get the general gist of it, general shape. There's another thing back there too as well, just kind of a cool object. Yeah, when I first saw John Wick #2, I was really blown away by the cinematography. I was like, wow, this is excellent for an action movie. Has similar style and flavor to this movie, photography wise. So I thought, oh man, I got to do John Wick in a future video. It'd be fun to do Keanu Reeves, and he's always fun to draw, really. And fun to talk about the color in John Wick. And then I saw this movie, and I was like, oh my God, this movie's even better. What am I doing here? Okay, clock. Where is that clock? Clock. Let's make them darker. Okay. I'm gonna look at this little zone. So it's kind of a dark saturated orange. Yeah, it looks pretty good with some notes in it. And then I'm going to try to match the yellow highlight as best as I can. Orange or gold. This is way too bright and it's too yellow. You guys see that? You see how it's like, it looks very yellow, surrounded by all this green. So I gotta turn it down. It's a little too saturated, too yellow. Needs to be a little bit more on the greeny side. A little bit darker. Hmm. Actually, the red is wrong now. The base is wrong. All right, it's as close as I can get, I think. Let me do a marquee. The clock face. It's sort of this kind of neutrally green. There's a lot of green in there. Of course, I can't see it now because it's too bright. Okay, oh, that looks nice. That looks pretty good, actually. Pretty good. Clock face has a shadow. It looks pretty good. Boy, the clock is tough. This clock is tough. It has, let's see, I can make it darker. Let's see what this does. Because right now the clock is just, the notes are a little off. I'm not sure why. Mm, 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 mm. Not sure why this clock kind of sticks out so much. Trying to match the little clock. I think that's a clock. A little box thing. Can't quite get the color, but the value's there. And what is this? Clock face. Let's see. Could try to clock hand as best as I can. Oh, I see. Okay, so there's a problem with the clock face is a little too yellow. Well, let me it's too blue. Needs some more yellow in it. Go a little darker. Okay, better. Better. Okay, that's a little better. Let's see if we go to yellow. Okay, no. More green. Okay, that's a lot better. More saturated. Oh, better. A little bit more saturated, more towards green. I believe this is the thing. Yep. Really shouldn't be paying too much attention to this clock, but it's kind of a cool element. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of harmonize the whole thing with a just a wash on top, and this should set me off. It should be All I need now. There it is. Okay. Okay. That's a lot better now. Now the clock kind of sits back in the space. All right, I'm happy with that.